Good morning, everyone. Let me just adjust the mic here. Hello, how's it going? What's up? What's happening? Just dev today, which means no after stream special. Okay, I'm gonna set up a super chat goal. Dev will go on Ozempic. What's going on, guys? What's up? Just saw you on Chud's stream. I was actually talking to Chud last night because like Chud's in the UK, right, and I'm in Canada. So when he's waking up at like 7 a.m. or like 8 a.m., that's 2 or 3 a.m. for me. So I'm just going to bed. So I actually talked to him a little bit right before I went to bed last night. Naomi does not seem to still be sick. She seems to be good. She was sick during the first Berserker Kazan stream. I was like, oh shit. Oh, okay. I'm also like rubbing the sleep out of my eyes. I got up at like 10 or 11 or something. Ah. You're a pillow talking with Chud. Fuck you. What's going on, guys? Anyway, yes. Do you have power? Yep. In fact, we didn't lose power. We didn't lose power. Is Dave doing all right? Yep. Yep. However, he was supposed to go to a concert. Also, Moobs. We did move Moobs. But yeah, we are in a place where we didn't lose power at all. But there was a concert Dave was supposed to go to that I think got canceled. Rip. No gaming afterwards this time. And actually, I'll tell you about it in a minute. I'll tell you about why in a minute. Zontar, thank you for the $5, dude. This election is shockingly boring. Somehow the most political action is friend circles falling apart over the trade war. Yeah, it's so stupid, dude. I like how Trump started a trade war with Canada for literally no fucking reason. Like, people say Trump's a fascist. Trump's not a fascist. He's not smart enough to be a fascist. He's just retarded. Megalag $5. Dev, if Doug Ford cut off power to the USA, wouldn't that be an act of war? No. Considering the amount of death that would cause, I would think that would count. No. It's just literally an act of capitalism, right? If Canada generates like power that America uses, and Canada decides not to sell it to America anymore, well, that's that. Stephen Burr, $2. Thank you. Weekly Tip Action on Sunday, inconceivable. Two weeks ago it was on a Sunday. Did I change the name of the channel recently? I changed it to Dev Short Fun Otaku. Hold on. There's actually a lot of things that I want to talk about here. And I'll just quickly open up a text file and take some notes. Okay? Okay. Jordan Rogers for the $5. It's Trans Day of Visibility tomorrow. I'm excited to post Taftage on multiple Discord servers for all my girl dick respecters. Based. Fuck. Actually, I gotta talk to her again. I just sent her a message being like, hey, what's up? Okay. There's a lot going on right now, as there is all the time. And maybe there's a few things that I could tell you about here and there. How's it going, Devo? Okay. I'm pissed that the fact that Trump's trade war is why the Liberals are going to win the election. Yeah, it seems like they will, and it's fucking hilarious. It seems like they will, and it's really funny. Okay, firstly, the name change. Actually, no, that'll be the last thing I talk about. I'll be like down to the bottom of the list. Okay, so Big question, as always. Where's the videos, Dev? Where's the video? Well, you guys already know about what was happening. Back in January and then like early February with regards to IRL stuff. And how it's been pretty slow for getting back on the saddle, you know what I mean? Maturity is coming to terms with the fact that Dev's always right, based. I'm not always right. It's funny to think about, but I'm not. But thank you, though. Does it sound quiet? Oh, sorry, Odin. Jesus. I'm pretty close. I'm to the anime reviews. I'm trying to figure it out, man. But like, I'm really close to the mic, and I can't really crank it anymore. You know what I mean? If I crank it too much, it won't work for Here, let me see what I can do. I just came for the thumbnail. Oh, you'll be waiting a little bit then. Like, and my volume's cranked 100 on OBS, 100 in Windows. Like, sorry. Kamikaze Games. I have a preamp. I have a 30 decibels of preamp plugged right in. Kamikaze Games for $10. Thank you. Hi, Dev. Love you even if you're wrong about Jan 6th. I'm not, though, but thank you. Vitek for 50, is that check money? Checks? After 5 more years of Liberals, Canadians will be begging to be annexed by the U.S. That's 4D chess right there. Yeah, but like that's not going to happen. Canada, countries, they are happy to like just embrace nationalism, even if it's stupid. €5. Hi, Dev. You've seen MAGAs on Twitter losing their minds because the chess website joking about renaming the bishop. What was the bishop renaming thing anyway? Valmetic. Apparently, according to the Trump dick suckers, anyone who critiques Trump has Trump Ranger syndrome. That's just how it is, bro. That's just how it is. Hold on. Okay, well, I'll see if I can turn it up, guys. Just give me a second. All right. Hold on. Okay, how's that? How's that sound, guys? Better. Is the quality better, or am I like blown out now? It's like, blah. Anyway, yeah. Kamikaze, Groovy, Banana, Chilby, Yito. I did a 4-hour video describing how Trump tried to steal the 2020 election. And it had almost nothing to do with the riot and everything to do with the false electors. Sounds good. Okay. Don't tell me that there are not legit psychos who hate Trump illogically and irrationally. When did I say that, Jack Carver? I didn't say that at all. Of course there are, obviously. But don't tell me that there aren't people who have legitimate criticisms of Trump. Because there are. Sketch, $5. Thanks, Ben. Republicans and MAGA have conditioned themselves so hard into believing they're always the losers that the slightest hint of a W makes them go wild. I'm not sure if that's correct. Maybe, but I don't know. Okay. So, give me a moment here. That video is one of your best videos ever. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So, while I was gone during all the IRL stuff from January, Why is Hassan on the thumbnail? Nice. Basically, I said, like, if you guys watched the last video, the one about Bunlith and the Real Game Awards, I said at the start of that there was, like, I was working on the next round of projects, and I was basically at the same time touching up videos that I had, like, made to about 75% completion. To about 75% completion. And then like forgot about them due to, like, things were overwhelming 2 months ago. It was just how it is. But yeah, I made 4 videos to, like, at least halfway completion, maybe closer to 3/4 completion, and then I forgot that I was doing them. Oops. So those videos were, like, sitting there. They were just kind of sitting around. And then in March, I was like, I should probably put those out, shouldn't I? Even though it's a little bit late. I mean, I might as well do something. Especially since there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in April, Canada-wise, that I gotta do. Sketch, $5. Example, Roe got overturned, and Lindsey Graham immediately said the next step was to get a federal ban of abortion in place. That's what I mean. Man, that's so stupid. The whole argument was take it back to the states, and a federal ban of abortion is not taking it back to the states. So, I guess I'll just tell you straight up. There's 4 videos that were in various stages of completion that I, like, abandoned during January, just stupidly, because I'm a doofus. One of them was the Real Game Awards Bunlith video. Okay. One of them was a video about the death of David Lynch, and, like, that one I probably just can't revive because, you know, like, an RIP. I did a video when Iwata died. I did a video when the creator of Dragon Ball Z died. I did a video when Jerry Springer died. Those are the kind of videos you have to get out, like within a couple days of it happening, right? And I wanted to do one about David Lynch because I'm not, like, a super giga David Lynch fan, but, you know, I really like Twin Peaks and I really like Eraserhead. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to talk about him at least a little bit, but the time for that has passed. Like, I can talk about an internet drama 2 months later, and that's probably fine. But the passing of like a director, you know, a Hollywood director, probably not. You know, it's probably too late for that. So maybe one day I'll come back to it and just do like a more in-depth David Lynch project. Because I do want to go back and watch some of his other movies. But I think I'll wait. On that, unfortunately. So, of the 4 videos that were in various stages of completion, one of them I put out, Bunlith, and Stuttering Craig and Real Game Awards. The other one, David Lynch, I'm probably not going to do. And there's 2 more. There's 2 more of these videos, guys. And one of them I'm hoping to release tomorrow. And the other maybe a little bit later. And these are both events that happened in like January-ish. One of them is reasonably close to completion. The other one is maybe about halfway done. And maybe I can get those 2 out in the coming week. We'll see. Can't lynch the Lynch. That's fucking hilarious, dude. Thank you. Thank you for the $2. Lives in Dev's Walls. Thanks, man. If you hear something that sounds like Rusty Gears trying to rob a big cat's roaring, ignore it. You're probably hallucinating and should seek help. Thanks, man. Hints? Sneak peek? I don't want to reveal them, to be honest. I kind of just want them to be like... I just want them to come out. Thanks, Ryboria. Thanks, man. But okay, the plan after that... Now the reason that I want to like get those videos out... Boomer, thanks for the $10, man. Rev, bring Dry Bread on as a SIP co-host sometime. Probably should one day, yeah. And Goodman, $2. Have you heard the right is now hating Trump? In Europe they are. I've heard that because of like, and in Canada, the Canadian right hates Canada. Why does the American right hate Canada? I don't believe it. Okay. Wait, when is April Fool's? Oh shit, it's Tuesday. I didn't even think of a fucking April Fool's joke video. Whoops. You know what? I'll probably think of something in the next little bit. Okay. Now after these videos are out, these next 2 videos come out. Then I'm gonna basically shift to Canada content because the Canadian election has been set. It's like April 26th or 28th or something. Let me just see. I think it's the yeah. Well, whatever. That basically means that it is in 4 weeks. Okay. And that means yes, trucker video. Yeah, Balkan Canuck just super chatted it. Now that the Canadian federal election is underway, I have to imagine the trucker video have to come out sometime before April 28th. Yes. Yes. So the trucker video is also in various stages of completion. Like a bunch of research has been done, a bunch of writing has been done. If I do not get it out before the election day, I will consider it to be a failure. Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, it's so late! Oh my god!" But like, you know, everyone said, like, talk about how stupid the whole thing is, and like, Dev, people are saying that like I don't want to put it out because it makes the government look bad. I don't give a fuck if the government looks bad or not. I don't fucking care. Wait, hold on. So, okay, this Willow person has been saying, like, don't release it, and then says, you need more time, you must perfect it. There's more information, you can fail, it's okay, no one listens to you anyway. Doesn't matter. Well, fuck you, what are you doing here then? Fuck off. The trucker video covered Carney's involvement. How involved was Carney in the trucker video anyway? Or in the video, no. In the trucker protest anyway. Oh my god, did you just ban Willow? I don't think you have to ban Willow, dude. You can unban them. Lives in Dev's walls, $2. Trucker video 2077. Thanks, man. And Terrace for $5. This news cycle can be titled, You've Heard of Canadian Maple Syrup, but Canadian Pride? Mr. Brub, maids. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you. How do you unban him? Hold on, okay. Mad Yvonne, did you only mute them or did you actually ban them? Those maids better be male-based. Anyway, listen, the point is... You muted them? Okay. I think mutes are out in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever, right? Okay. Oh, 24 hours? Okay. Yeah, whatever. Megalag, $20. Thanks, man. Honestly, I think Trump actually likes Carney. Anyhow, renaming the bishop is dumb. The chess community doesn't need more drama than it already has. Like, Magnus Carlsen is at war with the International Chess Federation. Never even heard of that. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Willow's back. This is my evil twin. You can't silence me. Well, it wasn't me. That was Mad Yvonne, dude, who gave you the slap down. But okay, listen. Next up is the Canada videos, which does include the trucker video, but it also includes like a whole series of Canada videos that I've been kind of sitting on for a while. So I think April will be like me pumping out Canada videos and then like culminating with the trucker video. You know what I mean? So I want to get these next 2 videos that I kind of have in various stages of completion like done and put them out. And then after that, it'll be Canada stuff. I want to do like another look at the Canadian maid situation because it's really fucking bad, the maid situation. About the PPC. The PPC is a joke. Yeah, I might as well talk about it. But he turned out to be like a fucking loser. Starlight Tours. What are those? But no, there's a bunch of stuff that I gotta talk about. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, basically they would take Indigenous Canadians in Saskatoon, just out into fucking nowhere, and just let him freeze to death. In the harsh Canadian winter. So, I'll be doing a bunch of Canadian videos over the course of April, which will culminate in the trucker video. And then after that, then I'll probably start pumping out the response videos finally. You know what I mean? Actually, speaking of that, man, there's like this Synthetic Man Orbiter who did a stream. Someone clued me in on this. He did a stream like going over my my 2 empathy videos, and this guy he had like 10 other people in there, and he was like losing his shit, and it was the dumbest low level. I forget his name. I forget this guy's fucking name because I saw it last night. I only saw like pieces of it. I didn't want to watch the entire 8-hour stream. But it was like every time I clicked around and like watched a bit, it was always the dumbest fucking criticism. It was like the most retarded shit. No, it wasn't Synthetic Man himself. It was like a Synthetic Man Orbiter. It was like someone who like clearly just sucks on his asshole. But this guy, he fucking, he, at one point he's like, first of all, he called me a far leftist for having trans friends, but also like a centrist. And it's like, listen, the center is not the far left. Okay. The center is not the far left. But secondly, like he saw my channel art of my character doing the OK hand symbol, and he's like, oh, how could this guy do this? Doesn't he know that that's like the Nazi symbol? Why doesn't he? It's like, that's the point. That's the point, you fucking retard. Yes, I'm making fun of that. That's the point. Like he's holding me up to this straw man of the left that I'm not even a fucking part of. And he's like, doesn't this guy know that was named a Nazi symbol? I don't care, you fucking moron. It was so stupid. And then there was parts throughout the empathy video where he's like, he's talking about how I just don't understand the data and how clearly leftists have way too much moral consideration for people they don't know, and it's like this destructive, toxic empathy of like caring about someone who's a stranger to you versus caring about someone who's close to you, which leftists do sometimes do. That's true. And then, like, in the very fucking next second, someone on his call begins to scream about how terrible I am for not immediately like crying over the dead firefighter. And I'm like, you guys have no fucking self-awareness at all, do you? Because the firefighter is a stranger to me, which is why I should not care about him per the conservative rules of the moral consideration heat map. You fucking retards. Like they just don't get it because they're idiots. Thank you God that my haters are actually just low IQ, fucking inbred, like missing chromosome dumb fucks, okay? Let's see here. What did I miss for the supers? Thanks, mans. God damn it! Why is everything lagging? Hold on. Let me just refresh the page. Terrace, thanks for the $5, man. When it comes to good domestic policy versus good foreign policy, why does it tend to be one or the other, but not both when you look at each country? Because no one's perfect, I guess. It's kind of how it is, Megaleg, $5. Thanks, man. Context of the previous donation. The top chess player is actively at war with the international chess governing body. No, I know that, but like, what at war over what? I have empathy for heat maps, not people based. Balkan Canuck. Dev, what do you think about JJ McCullough? Would you ever want to do a collab with him? I feel he shared a lot of his views. Curious since he did with JREG. We've spoken a couple times. I feel like right now, until I reestablish myself post all the drama, I'm too radioactive for people to talk to right now, which is fine. I understand. Groovy Banana, $20. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Talking about the firefighter, the right has gotten much better at emotional messaging. They finally realized that giving numbers persuades almost nobody. I'm not sure if the right ever was into giving numbers, or at least like not accurate numbers anyway. A lot of the right wing data on things just seems to be like fucking made up. Oh, 5 bits from Decadent Moonlight. John Saltz. Thanks, man. We talk to you. Same, you don't see your audience as people. Arpa, come on. You know what I mean. Jeez. Okay, so, hear me out. Okay? Hear me out. Like, I don't know how I can explain. I don't. It's one of those things where, like, it's so stupid that if I explain it, you just like won't believe it. But in that hater stream that I watched, these are people who contradicted themselves over and over and over and over in the same breath, and nobody realized it. And like no, their chat didn't notice. They didn't know. The guys in the call didn't notice. Remember the only heat maps? Thanks, Doug. Like they didn't. No. It's not Aiden and Spoon. It's somebody else. I forget who the name there was. I forget who they were. I forget the name. The name of the channel. But it was an orbiter of Synthetic Man. I know that. Okay. It was some Synthetic Man orbiter, not Ace. No. Somebody. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. But like, it was just it was full retardation, and I have maybe I got to go over it just so I can show you, because like. No, not Scrump. It's nobody that I've associated with before. It's I didn't know this guy existed until like yesterday. Someone completely new. All right. But like it was so incredible how dumb they were. That like I have to like also they did that thing. They did that thing where they're watching a video and they're reacting to it, and they pause every 3 seconds in the middle of every single, like just in the middle of words, and then but they don't actually watch the video all the way through. They're just constantly pausing to talk to chat or talk to each other, which is normal in a React video. But they clearly don't understand what's being said because they've paused too much. You know what I mean? Where it's like, what is he saying, man? Well, yeah, because you've listened to like 10% of the sentence that you've taken 10 minutes to fucking get through because you have no idea how to actually be a good reactor. It wasn't such an Adam, for fuck's sake. No. No. It's the opposite of a Hassan moment, because Hassan just walks away. Sketch $2. My body is a heat map that produces empathy. Thanks, man. Tara Sharenko, $5. Full of emotion. As long as you keep chat feeling good, that's what counts. Yeah, I guess, man. Oh, dude, it's one of those things where it's like, it's easy to create a strong if you don't have to listen to the whole argument. What was the avatar again? I don't remember, man. I don't know. I think EFAP's a good reactor because EFAP and Adam and Sitch, because they will pause and they will have long conversations. However, if they understand they're not understanding what's being said, they will rewind and watch a part again. So it's like, okay, we've talked over this sentence like for a whole bunch of minutes. Let's rewind the video, 15 seconds, and actually watch this next piece in its entirety so we know what's going on here. That's definitely like that's what makes a good reactor, in my opinion. The EFAP guys and Adam and Sitch, yeah. Thanks for the €10, dude. The chess website made a joke, and right-wing people take it way too seriously. The chess community pages almost only post memes, but the bishop renaming one triggered them because of my Christianity Yeah. It's so stupid, dude. It's like you know what? It's like the Assassin's Creed Shadows thing where they're destroying temples, and you have like, oh, you're disrespecting our culture. It's like, we made fun of leftists for doing this like triggered cultural appropriation. How dare you not respect us bullshit? Fuck you. Like, the religious right is back, and I don't give a fuck about it. Fuck you guys. You're also the enemy. Anyway, yeah. I think the biggest just moment where I realized that these people, whoever the fuck they were, I can't remember their names. I'm sorry, I can't remember their names, but whoever they were, that they were just like actually 75 IQ fucking retards, is when they were shrieking. Like you could hear, like there's this one chick in the call who has like just dripping anger in her voice, like how fucking dare he have that hero's name in his mouth, like just anger dripping out of her fucking voice. And it's like, you're here watching a video talking about an idea where left-wingers care more about people who are distant from them than close to them, and right-wingers care more about people who are close to them than distant from them. And you're calling me like a leftist tranny chaser or whatever, while at the same time, in the same breath, having this moral outrage, this fucking virtue signaling over how dare I not care all that much about somebody who's actually not that close to me. And like, they don't put it together. How you can't hold these two positions at the same time. I assume you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not going over your guys' heads, obviously. Like, this is like, am I making any sense here? Where it's like, yeah, you get it? Okay, good. So like, I don't know if I'm making, like, it's one of those things that it's very simple to describe, but when I describe it, it just sounds so stupid. It sounds so dumb. And I'm like, do I really need to explain this? Do people actually not, like, do people not see what's going on here? Yeah, they aren't self-aware. Yeah. Okay, here. Hold on. David, the woke right have the same epistemology as the woke left, which is to say they are post-truth, they don't care. Yeah, I know that. I know an Exiles, but I mean, I care. To be frank, you do be chasing sometimes. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't care. Listen, dude, I'm also in cis girls' DMs too. I don't give a fuck. Thoughts in politics the next 20-30 years, since millennials, Gen Z will be the main voting bloc. Far less type saying it would be the Handmaid's Tale, the worst would happen to voluntary draft registration to vote. I think we are going to see a swing back rightward, and there'll be some good things coming out of it, and a lot of bad things coming out of it, in my opinion. I'm sorry, Schnitzel. Hope you're feeling better, man. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to find something that can maybe explain this to you, okay? No, not this, a different thing, okay? Here's something that I did not realize in time for either of my videos on empathy. And honestly, I should have realized it. And it's my bad that I didn't. And maybe I need to, I don't know if I'm going to make a third video on that same like heat maps topic, but maybe if empathy comes up again, I need to talk about this somehow. Okay? So, here. Hold on just a second. Give me, okay, hold on. Let's start with this, okay? Let's start with this. So we got empathy. The ability to understand and share feelings of another. The action of understanding, being aware of, or being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. Okay? The ability to take on another person's perspective, to understand, feel, and possibly share and respond to their experience. The ability to share someone else's feelings or experiences by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation. The ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. Okay, so empathy is not just this kind of lovey-dovey sort of feeling where you're like, oh, I feel your pain. Oh, I get it. I understand. You are hurting, so I'm hurting too. Oh my God. Oh, like, it's not just that. That's part of it. That is part of what being empathetic is. But that's not all of it. Okay? That's not all of it. And in fact, I recall when I was younger, probably being more empathetic than I am now. Because I recall, like, in a few I talked about this, I think, during the first Berserker Kazan stream, if any of you guys are watching the gaming stream a couple days ago. But I recall getting into a fight with someone. There was like this scrawny kid in high school who, like, I could just absolutely wreck this kid. Like, it wasn't even like I was like double his body weight. This is like a fucking like 98-pound weakling, you know. Like, I could just like stomp this guy into the dirt, and it wouldn't have even been fair. But he wanted to fight me, right? He was like, I'm gonna fight you. It's like, but we're not even beefing. What do I do? He's like, I just don't like you. We're gonna fight. And like, he clearly just wanted to like look tough in front of his friends because he didn't really have any friends. He kind of came from like a bad home background, you know, and he just wanted to look tough and like kind of, you know, have something to his name because he had nothing. He was the dirty, poor, kind of like slow kid who just didn't have anything. And like he had like no fucking no he had no social standing in any way, right? Like he wasn't good at school, he wasn't smart, he wasn't clever, he wasn't funny, he wasn't good looking, he doesn't have a girlfriend. He had a few friends who basically just picked on him. Like, everything for this kid was an L, okay? And he wanted to fight me because he wanted to like take me out. Well, here's the thing, Sean. He wasn't like a bully where he's like bigger than me. He's like, oh, I'm gonna take you. No. This was like the scrawny kid who's like desperately trying to get like just a drop of clout. So he wanted to fight me. And I was like, dude, this is stupid. Like, I can just destroy you. Let's not do this. And he like tried to punch me a few times, and like it didn't really go anywhere. Like I could just like hold him back. And I was just like, I'm trying not to make fun of him, but like I'm just describing to you like what's happening, okay? Like what's going on with the situation. And I could like hold him back. And like eventually I like, okay, we got fine. So like I threw him around a bit, and then like he eventually like got up and walked away, and then I left. This is like after school, right? Like walking home from school. So I threw him around a bit, and I remember like feeling so sorry for him because I knew all of this. I knew why he was doing it. I knew he didn't have anything else. I knew he just wanted some clout, something to his name. He wanted something that he could say, I actually won this one. And I knew that like he was probably coming from a place of desperation. And so when I threw him around a bit, just like I didn't want to hurt him that badly, but I wanted the fight to stop, obviously. So I threw him around, and eventually like he just stopped and left. And I remember like it was strangely hurting me. It was hurting me when I was throwing him around. And I was like, okay. And it's because I felt so sorry for him, right? And it's it's strange, and like I made the joke on the Kazan stream that you have like the Nazis who say the Jew cries out in pain as he strikes you. I think that was like one of like Hitler's quotes or something from like one of his writings, which is kind of funny because like that is the mark of an abuser, right? If you like see an abusive husband who's like beating his wife, an abusive husband who's beating his wife will say shit like, I don't want to do this, but you've left me no other choice. And, look what you've made me do. This is your fault, as he's like beating her, right? And the abusive husband might actually be feeling pain while he does this to his wife, but it still makes him abusive, right? It's still, like, it doesn't matter what justification he has, he's still abusive. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, is it possible that when you're hurting somebody else, whether justified or not, and you're feeling your own form of pain from that, that has to be a form of empathy? Obviously. Yeah. You made me do this, yeah. Because you are putting yourself in their shoes, right? Like, double that guy's weight in high school, by the way, when you're like 4'10". Insane how large you are. No. This guy would have been like 90 pounds, and in high school, I was like 180. I was between 160 and 180 in high school. And I was pretty lean. I was pretty muscular in high school. I was an athlete in high school. I'm just a fat fuck now. But like, but no, it was one of those situations where like I felt so bad for doing it, but I couldn't just not do it. Like, I couldn't just let this guy just like beat on me. It's like, well, I'm not gonna let you beat me up. but I'm going to feel bad that I'm defending you because I understand where you're coming from. So like the high empathy position is putting myself in his shoes, understanding that he comes from, a bad family and a bad background and like what his motivations are, and seeing it through his eyes, and then feeling bad when I have to defend myself. That's like the high empathy position. And I was pretty empathetic when I was younger. However, the low empathy position is saying, I don't care what this guy's fucking situation is. Maybe I can't even understand his situation because I can't put myself in his shoes. Because I have low empathy. I can't put myself in his shoes. All I see is this asshole who wants to fight me, and I'm going to defend myself, right? That's like the low empathy position, okay? And by the way, both of those positions kind of have their value, right? Because you do want to be able to defend yourself, and you do want to be the one to stand up for your own interest, because who the fuck else is going to do it? But also, you do want to understand where your adversary is coming from, because maybe if understanding him, you can more easily beat him, and maybe through understanding him, you can actually stop the conflict, right? So both of these things are important. And so when a leftist says, you need more empathy, what they're saying is, understand the other person so much that you fail to advocate for your own position. This is like the bike cuck meme, right? Where bike cuck has been stolen from. You guys remember bike cuck, right? I'll just pull it real quick. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, good old bike cuck meme. Here it is. So like, bike cuck's bike was stolen. He was bummed out about it. Then I think whoever stole it was probably more happy to get it than I was sad to lose it. The total happiness in the world has increased, so whatever. So this is a highly empathetic position, all right? Because the person who wronged him gained more from it than he lost, the total happiness in the world increased. So he is so empathetic with the other person's position that he's not even willing to stand up for his own position, all right? And sometimes there is some virtue in this, right? Sometimes you do want to understand the suffering of another person. However, the counter to that is you cannot rely on other people to advocate for your position. You have to advocate for it yourself. You're not this objective deity floating above the situation. You are in the situation. You have a subjective position within the situation. And that position needs to be advocated for the same way that the thief's position might need to be advocated for in the situation. So, like, it is the thief's job to make this... not to make this argument. It's the thief's job to advocate for his position. It's his job to advocate for his own position, and then, like, a judge's job to like declare what's actually going on here properly. The fact that he is sitting here advocating for the thief's position means that now nobody advocates for him. Which is why, by the way, he loses the bike at the end of the day. So, it was proven that losses felt stronger than gain. That's true, yes. Yeah, exactly, Neotsu. It is not the victim's job to advocate for the abuser. Exactly. Now, the abuser should be advocated for, because maybe there's other situations in here that you don't know. Maybe there's new information, right? But it's the abuser's job to advocate for the abuser, not the victim's job. Right? So, this is like the problem of having too high empathy. Okay? And I think we all understand that, right? Like, toxic empathy was a thing for a while, you know. You had right-wingers saying, do not commit the sin of empathy. You cannot put yourself in the shoes of your enemy. Do not try to understand them. They are evil. Which, by the way, leftists do too. They act like they don't, but they do. Every single time a leftist says, punch a Nazi, they're doing this, right? Because what if, like why not have empathy for Nazis? Think about it. What if the Nazi comes from like a broken home, and that's why he's a Nazi? What if the Nazi had like a bunch of like a string of bad experiences where like black people just kick the shit out of him, and now he's like bitter against like black people, you know? Like why not? If you truly are going down the empathy is good at all times route, why don't you empathize with Nazis? The answer is they don't actually believe this shit. But if you did value empathy, you have to empathize with your enemies. But this shows the problem, or at the very least, the outer edges of how far that can go. Right? Yeah. You can mourn the child he was while putting down the monster he became. Exactly. It has to be that way. Right? So here's what's interesting about all this. Okay? You have toxic empathy, right? How progressives exploit Christian compassion. Toxic empathy. Right? The sin of empathy. Oh my God. You know, this has been floating around the right wing a lot, where the left is too empathetic, which is why they open the borders and let all the refugees in. Who cares if they attack you? We need to be empathetic towards them. Like all this bullshit. And this is all stuff that we've talked about before. I did the video on it. But here's the part that I missed, okay? Here is the part that I missed. And I didn't put it together at the time, and I should have. And I don't think this is enough to do a third video on it, but if I ever talk about empathy again, I'll bring this up then. All right? You guys recall this? This post? I did IQ research as a grad student, and it involves a lot of this stuff. Did you know that most people, 95%, with less than 90 IQ cannot understand conditional hypotheticals? For example, how would you have felt yesterday evening if you hadn't eaten breakfast or lunch? What do you mean? I did eat breakfast and lunch. Yes, but if you had not, how would you have felt? Why are you saying that I didn't eat breakfast? I just told you that I did. Imagine that you hadn't eaten it, though. How would you have felt? I don't understand the question. Right? Or, what's this one here? Let's see. Time is practically impossible to understand for sub-80 IQs. They exist only in the present. They can barely reflect on the past, and they can't plan for the future at all. Sub-90 IQs struggle with anachronisms, too. For example, I remember the 80s to 85 stumbling on logic problems that involved common sense anachronism stuff. For example, why do you think that military strategists in World War II didn't use laptop computers to help develop their strategies? And the answer was, I guess they didn't want to be hacked by Nazis? Admittedly, you could argue this is a history knowledge question, not a logic sequencing question, but you get the idea. Sequencing is super hard for them to track, but most 100 IQ pluses have no problem with it. Although I imagine that a movie like Memento strains them a little. Recursion was definitely the killer, though. Recursive thinking and recursive knowledge seems genuinely hard for people of even average intelligence. Okay. So. Yeah, but I did have breakfast, yeah. What's happening here, do you think? Right here. When he says, how would you have felt yesterday evening if you hadn't eaten breakfast or lunch? What he's saying is, I want you to take yourself outside of your own head and put yourself into another person's head. This time, this person is like a copy of you, but someone who has not eaten breakfast or lunch. And now tell me, what is he feeling that you currently aren't feeling? So he's asking them to be empathetic. Now, it's not the same type of empathy as bite cuck. But remember, empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings of another, right? The action of understanding, being aware of, or being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another, right? The ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling, right? The ability to share someone else's feelings or experiences by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation. So, imagining what it would be like if you hadn't eaten breakfast or lunch. You following me? So, right-wingers pull this up all the time to laugh at people, and fair enough. There's a good reason to laugh at them. But to laugh at... No. Okay, it's hypothetical, so no emotions being recalled. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, actually, because... remembering and imagining use the same brain circuitry. It's why people can, tell themselves a lie repeatedly till they believe it. It's why people can craft a false memory for themselves and re-remember it so many times that they believe it actually happened, right? Happens all the time, right? Empathy is dependent on your capacity for imagination. Yes, it is. And here's what's interesting, is that right-wingers pull this up and laugh at people all the time. Like, are you low IQ? Are you low IQ, guys? Well, how would you feel if you didn't eat breakfast today? What they're asking there, when the rightoids ask this question, they're asking them to be empathetic. They're asking them to employ the same circuitry that in other situations they decry as being evil. You guys know what I mean? Like, they talk about toxic empathy, and they have a good point. And then they talk about how would you feel yesterday evening if you hadn't eaten breakfast or lunch, and they have a good point, but they don't understand that these points, even though they're both good points, are at odds with one another. All right? They don't understand that the empathy that they're calling a sin is required to be the person who can overcome this hypothetical. I think this is overfitting the analysis. I don't think so at all. I think what it is that right-wingers, I'm speaking very generally here, okay? Very generally. This is obviously not all, obviously. But at least all the basic bitch rightoids that I bump into, they tend to engage only in single variable analysis, okay? They'll pull this meme out. They'll pull out the, how would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast? And then they'll say, here's the problem with it. And it's a good critique. But then in another conversation, they'll pull out the sin of empathy. And here's the problem with that. And it's a good critique. But they never put the two together. They never take these two things and understand how they link. They never go that far. All right? It's the same thing of like, you know, it's the same type of problem as when those like 75 IQ fucking dev haters were complaining about me, you know, not immediately sucking the cock of the dead firefighter, while at the same time saying that I am, you know, a lefty who is too empathetic. And it's like, man, you can't hold these two things at the same time. But they do, because they never actually complete the thought of why it's illogical. Trash Panda says the IQ question is about intelligence and the politics question is about morality. You're conflating the two. I'm not conflating the two. I'm not. No, it's not nuanced. This isn't a nuanced thing. It's a cognitive dissonance thing. Okay. Let me just refresh here. Things froze again. Rip. I think you're conflating theory of mind with compassion for others. No. Those things are related. They are necessarily related. No, I get it, Trash Panda, but like there's a lot to respond to right now. Just give me a minute, okay? Naxalis, those things are necessarily related. All right. Okay, compassion is not consideration. No. Okay, you guys don't get it. Okay, hold on. I'm not saying that empathy is inherently good. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that empathy is inherently moral. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying these things. Okay. I'm saying that a key component of empathy is being able to put yourself in other people's shoes. All right? That's a key component of empathy. If you cannot put yourself in other people's shoes, then you cannot be empathetic. You just can't. Because empathy requires you to put yourself in their shoes and then feel what they're feeling. If you can't do that first step, putting yourself in their position, then you cannot have empathy. Okay? So when people make fun of those low IQ individuals who cannot put themselves in other people's shoes And then they turn around in a different conversation and say, well, too much empathy is actually bad. And in fact, it shows that you are like morally and mentally deficient if you have too much empathy. These two positions don't jive together. They don't. They just don't. Because one necessarily excludes the other. Yeah. You need a theory of mind to feel empathy for others, but you also need it for malice. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Dilip. Thank you. Yes. And so, like, they're making fun of people for having a theory of mind, while also in another situation making fun of people for not having a theory of mind. And it's like, oh, man. No, there's obviously a happy medium amount of empathy. Of course there is. Of course there is, right? But what I'm saying is, these people just don't, they don't even see the dissonance. That's what I'm saying. The obvious answer to the dissonance is there's a golden mean here. Too much empathy is bad. Not enough empathy is bad. There's a golden mean. That's the obvious answer. All right. But these people don't even get to that point because they don't see how these two positions don't mesh. They don't understand it. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. 5 bits from Decade Moonlight. Assassin's Creed Shadows was the same situation as that Dragon Age Veilguard game. They got so engulfed in the narrative of the game that the game lacked massively. Yeah, I think I agree with you. There's definitely like an anti-woke contingent out there of people who are just like, they're desperate for everything to be a bomb, you know? They don't want things to get better. They just want to like endlessly get mad about it. That's definitely for real. Lives in Des Walls, $2. You should add other things to your workout. Like what? Lives in Des Walls again, thanks. You made me relabel all the medication happy pills. Thanks, dude. Terrace for $10, thank you. In the novel Starship Troopers, Heinlein wrote that the lowest of humans were only capable of loyalty to self, or maybe family. And increased sophistication meant loyalty to community, then nation, then species. Yes. Which, by the way, requires empathy. Terrace, $5. How would you feel if your country was militarily invaded, but it wasn't? Thank you, man. $5 from Sean. V, how would you feel if you didn't have eaten breakfast today? Also V, if you ask him how he's wrong, I'm not wrong. $20 from Groovy Banana. Thank you very much, man. Wouldn't you say there's a difference between being capable of empathy / understanding it and being empathetic? Can they not both exist without a disconnect? Of course. Yeah, you can be capable of empathy, but then know to like, okay, now is not the time. You know, your rational brain says not now, and then you ignore it because something else is happening. That's true, right? But the people that I'm talking about don't even get to that point. They don't even get there. The people that I'm talking about are fucking retarded. But thank you very much for the $20, man. Caspian, thanks for the $5. There's a sweet spot. I feel sympathy from VAs who have their voices used for AI without their permission, but given their actions, it's at a low level. I think I understand. Yeah. Steven for $2. When is the next Hubcast with Lilith? Fuck, I don't know, dude. Like, Lilith is just not available for content anymore. She's like doing her own thing. There's no falling out. She just has like a crazy schedule. So probably never. I wouldn't mind having her back, but like, there's just no time. She's always doing something now. IRL called, Sean King, $2. I got called into work. See you next week. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here. Schnitzel, $2. Basically, they want their cake and eat it too. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. Matrix for $200 is Czech dollars. The right, especially MAGA, exhibits a lot of third world behaviors, including less empathy. What makes leftists extra awful is that they excuse or support these behaviors when the people with them aren't white. Exactly. Yes. Do you see someone suggest having Lilith on Archcast alongside Amalgamate? They're like polar opposites. As long as they make out, though, I'm okay with it. Um, 5 bits from Decade. Thanks, man. This is legitimately the most retarded argument I've heard in a long time. What's your problem with it then, Donovan? Tell me. I've been hearing that the new AC, if you jump the difficulty to like max, it actually does become a very stealth heavy game. So it's not all bad. Besides the whole woke agenda. I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know. I'm just kind of done with all games homogenizing into like an RPG, like open world RPG. It's like, no, it should have stayed stealth. You know, Call of Duty should have stayed Call of Duty. Like none of that stats bullshit. Yeah. Okay, hold on. The Mr. Boomba. By anyone who's listening, how empathy plays any part in recalling how you'd feel if something changed for you specifically, it doesn't take empathy in order to know how you'd personally feel. Yes, it actually does. Because, well, they use the same circuit, okay? Like, when you think of what a person might think, what you're doing is you're taking all the information you have about that person, and then you're building a little model of them in your head. And then you're feeding that model, like, information to see what they do with it, right? So, for example, and by the way, we all do this. We all do this. It just sounds weird to describe it, but we all do this, okay? So, for example, like I have a little Naomi in my head that I've built based on my interactions with Naomi. And then what I'll do is I will take information and then I'll give that information to like the Naomi model, the Naomi program, and then I'll run the program in my head. And then what comes out will be like, okay, that's what I think Naomi would do if I said this, right? So, for example, if you have a girlfriend and your girlfriend, you know, you think, your girlfriend comes out and says, do I look fat in these pants? Okay. What you're actually doing, you're doing this very quickly and you're not thinking about it, but here's what you're doing. You have a model of your girlfriend in your head. You have a girlfriend program. You feed that program your various answers. The program spits out your girlfriend's likely replies. And then based on that, you're like, okay, well, should I say this? Should I say this? Okay, she'll probably say this if I say this. She'll probably say that if I say that. And then what you're doing is you're then thinking, okay, here's what my brain predicts that she will say if I say responses A, B, or C, or whatever, right? And so you then, with that prediction, make your actual real response. Okay? Now, part of your ability to like build this program of your girlfriend requires you to step into her shoes and to understand what she's thinking and she's feeling, understand her personality traits, understand like the things that she's likely to say based on experience, right? So you have to, and by the way, people who are like worse at this, it's either because they haven't collected enough data on their girlfriend yet, or their brain can't do it due to generally lower IQ. But the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes, one, is empathy, and two, requires you to like basically build a program that runs what their likely response is based on what you know of them. Okay. Now, when you're thinking about the hypothetical person who is you but hasn't had breakfast today, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the exact same thing. You have a program that is you with all of your personality traits, but having not eaten breakfast today. And you're handing that program data, and you're seeing what it says when it spits it out. You're doing the same thing. Which is why, by the way, they are the same. It is the same thing that you're doing in your head, even though one of them is a model of your girlfriend and one of them is a model of you when you're hungry. This is psychological schema, Dev. All information is stored as schema in the mind. Maybe. Let me just look up the definition of schema. What is schema? In various fields, a schema refers to a structured framework or plan, acting as a blueprint for organizing information or knowledge. Okay, yeah, got it. A representation of a plan or a theory. Okay. A conception of what is common to all members of a class, a general or an essential type of form. Okay, yeah, this makes sense, yeah. Something like this here. Schema learning. Golf is like baseball. Baseball is like chess. Chess is like golf. Golf's related to business. Business related to chess. Business and chess related to friendship. Related to leadership. Yeah. New ideas and concepts become sticky by relating them to ones you already know. Yeah, okay. I think I understand. I get what you're saying, what you're trying to imply here. However, being able to create a model of someone else and a model of how you view yourself are very different things. One doesn't require empathy. Okay, one doesn't require empathy, but it does require the underlying circuitry that empathy relies on. That's the point. Because the person that you would be if you were hungry versus who you are now, that is a different person. That is somebody who isn't you. Because you're not hungry right now. So it has to be someone else. It's just you when you're hungry, but it doesn't mean it's you. Like it's strange. Like it's like yeah, they are necessarily related. Of course they are, but it's still not you. Like in a very strange sense, like even you aren't you. If you think about it, right? Because like here, let's say you're sitting here and you're like, what would I do if I were angry right now? And how is that different than what would I do if I were happy right now? And then how is that different if what would I do if I were horny right now? And then how is that different from, and like, et cetera, right? Right? And you understand that when you're hungry versus when you're thirsty versus when you're horny versus when you're happy versus when you're sad, when you're angry, right? You will do different things. Right? And if you're not in those mind states, you have to simulate those mind states in order to get an answer to the question, what would I do if I were this right now? And simulating them is the same mechanism as simulating somebody else. Do you guys understand? Like if you're extremely full, like you just ate a big meal and you're like, oh dude, you like lie down for a little bit or like relax for the TV, you know, are you capable of generating inside your head a version of you that is hungry? And then be like, well, if I was not massively full, if I was the complete opposite of this, what would I do? That is related. That is the same like mechanism in your brain that is used to be empathetic. You guys get it yet? I don't know if I'm making any sense. Okay. Let's see here. Titanium for $5. Sorry, my developer game ran late. Here's 5 bones. Thanks, man. Appreciated. Lord Cameron, thanks, dude. I'm 75% sure that this is a function of conscientiousness, not IQ. Or consciousness? Fucking one of the two. Not IQ. I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, Mr. Boomba, even even if it's not empathy, it's just the same mechanism. My argument still stands, right? My argument is that there are people out there who say both of these things when only one of them can be true. Sketch, $2. The new upper echelon video about AC was top tier. I did not see it, but thank you. I'll have to go see it. Upper echelon YouTuber. I'm not sure if I know who this guy is. Okay. Nuance. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it. Oversized Trash Panda. As a side note, I've just seen the breakfast question used to torment people who are directing the framing of a bad faith hypothetical. Yes, I've seen that too, Oversized Trash Panda. I've seen that too. Definitely Trash Panda. Where like the hypothetical is clearly a trap. And like it's clearly just designed to fuck you. And so they say, this is fucking stupid, dude. And then yeah, I've seen that. I agree with you. And it's such a terrible fucking tactic. Lives in Des Walls, $2. Good role playing uses the same circuit. Exactly. So like if you're like playing a tabletop game, right? And then you have to like put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and that shoe being your character, right? Like me, I am not actually a vampire lolly, right? I am in fact, a 30-something fat fucking neckbeard. Okay. I need to basically use that circuit to put myself in the shoes of a vampire lolly, or of like my femboy thief, right? Or the fat black monk, in all of these RPs that I ran, right? What if you were fat? Fuck you. Do you think game theory should be a required grade school course? Probably high school. Yes, it should be. And in high school, yeah. Like, you should have to learn some basics of game theory. You should have to learn some basics of like how to do your taxes, how to do like practical skills, right? Like there should be like a class that you take in high school, not to just learn intellectual stuff, but practical stuff, right? Do your taxes, how to like maybe fix a car. That class doesn't exist. There's like an auto class you can take. But yeah. Elfpire Ava. Okay, is Elfpire Ava actually a woman? Because the voice sounds kind of weird. I don't care if they're doing what Akko does. I'm just kind of curious. Terrace, $5 again. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Do you think this mechanism is at work when people who can only write self-inserts and straw men? Yeah, maybe. If you can't write somebody else's position, and all you're doing is like, yeah, maybe that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Like if you're not smart enough to write a character that's not a self-insert, maybe so, yeah. Groovy Banana for $20. Thanks again, man. Are you saying that there are people who are completely incapable of understanding themselves and their actions? Yes. Yes, there are. Yeah, there actually are. So, man, maybe I can show you this one too. Like, hold on. What do you see in your head? Okay, yeah. Okay. You guys recall seeing this? Here. It's baffling to me that some of you all see stuff in your mind. You see it the way that your eyes see. I always thought that visualize meant thinking of the words, ideas, feelings associated with a thing, not actual visuals. I am such a total 5 on this scale, I didn't know 1 to 4 existed. So the idea is, when I say, think of an apple, right? The 5s can actually generate an apple in their head, or the 1s, sorry, can actually generate an apple in their head. And like, just close your eyes, like, picture an apple. And like, for me, the apple appears. I can rotate it. I can put it, like, I can have it hanging from a tree. I can have it from somebody's, like, in somebody's hands. It fluctuates between 1 and 2 for me. Sometimes things are a bit less detailed, but I can definitely create like just 3D images that I can rotate and get different points of view from, and all this, like visual, just viewing things in your head, generating like entire landscapes. All right, definitely. But lots of people, they can only like have like a basic outline. They can only have a black and white. Some people don't even think of anything at all. Right? Now, some people, for example, dry bread is like this. Dry bread can't visualize anything in his head. Now, that on its own is not indicative of much, right? Because most people who can't visualize anything in their head, they can still like, generate a word or a feeling in their head. They can still generate like a sound. They can remember how something sounded, right? They can remember how something felt, how something smelt, how something tasted, how something, like, they can remember sensory data. They can remember sensory data. All right. And they can remember words, and they think in a language, right? So like, for example, when I dated Wei, my Chinese girlfriend from university, I asked her, like, you obviously think in Chinese, right? Like when you're inner monologue, your voice in your head is running. You think in Chinese, right? And she's like, yeah, of course. I don't think in English. because English is her second language and Chinese is her first language. So she would think, like, her voice inside her head would be chattering away in Chinese, and she'd translate it. And my voice inside my head chatters away in English, right? Yeah. Do you hear words in your head? Do you see it as written, or do you only have the idea alone, neither heard nor read? Yeah, exactly, Naxalis, right. So most people can't do all of these things. Most people lack one of these abilities to generate something new in their head, whether it be a 3D image or a 2D image or a word or a sound or a taste or an emotion. They can't generate at least one of them. Most people lack the ability to generate at least one. So it's pretty normal. People who are like, pretty, on the uptake, they can generate all of them. All right. However, to answer your question, Groovy Banana, there are people who can't do any of it at all. Do you hear different voices for roles when you read a book? Yes, I do. Yep. So there are people who can't do any of it. They cannot call. They have no inner monologue, right? They have no images appear in their head when they're talking about ideas. No words appear in their head. No memories, no thoughts, no recall, no smells. And these people who have none of it, they tend to actually be like pretty low IQ. And they tend to be people who like just bounce through life reacting to stimuli with very little in the way of long-term planning. And I don't know if that means that they're just running on instinct, but it's got to be pretty fucking close. Yeah, some people can't actually talk to themselves in their head. Yeah. Hey, Big Dro, what's up, buddy? Look up utilization behavior. Will do, man. Okay. Utilization behavior is a neurobehavioral phenomenon where individuals, often with frontal lobe damage, are compelled to grasp and use objects, even in inappropriate contexts, without explicit instruction. An individual's inability to resist the urge to use objects presented to them, even if it's not the appropriate time or place for that action. Wow. So, like, you give someone, like, a lip balm and they'll just put it on whether or not they need it. Crazy, dude. Hey, give me a second. Gives dildo. Just go sit on this. Okay, give me a moment. Sorry. I decided to put on lip balm. Okay. $2 from Antelope, making Dev spin in my head right now. Thanks, dude. Some people dream in black and white or with no speaking or voices in their dreams. I wonder how much our dreams are tied to empathy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe. Starhawks, $2. Here's your weekly pittance. Dance for you, monkey. Thanks, you fucks. Okay. I appreciate all the support. I really do. Even if it's kind of funny sometimes. So, basically, I know this has been like a half hour like derail, but I've been thinking about this and I've been wondering, like, this is something that I should have put together more quickly. This is something that I should have put together more quickly and included in my empathy video. But I didn't. I kind of fucked that up. Oops. If I ever have to talk about the empathy thing again, I will. You know, maybe one day I'll do a video on theory of mind. And I'll see, like, okay. You know what? Okay. I even recalled, like, some rightoids saying that leftists don't have a theory of mind. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, man, you can't say that while at the same time saying that if you have too much empathy, then you're, like, mentally deficient. Because, like, okay. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm sure some don't. But, like, it's, I don't know, man. It's just incredible how often I see people who are just like not only hypocrites, but they're so blind to their own hypocrisy they don't even see it. They don't even see it, dude. And like they don't even see it, and they act incredulous, but they're just fucking retarded. And you know what? That is the best way to describe that anti-dev stream VOD that I watched last night. Oh, lives in Dev's walls. I did miss you. I'm sorry. $5, thank you. In the spirit of Steel Manning, no one closer to yourself on the heat map than you. Using empathy for breakfast you is in line with close empathy value. That makes some sense too, yes. But the heat map thing is more about like active moral allocation. You know what I mean? To be fair, most people who say that they are empathetic probably can't feel empathy. Maybe. Surprising from you, Deb, the fence sitter, after you profess to be, not understanding that both too much empathy and too little is a bad thing. No. I said that earlier, of course. Yeah. You need to have a golden mean of empathy. Yes. The issue is that the people I'm talking about, they don't say that, all right? They simply say empathy bad. But then also say underlying mechanism that makes empathy good, actually. And also, if you're my enemy, you're just low IQ. Like, they don't actually put it together, is my point. Like there is, in fact, a proper answer to this, and the proper answer is the golden mean. But none of them ever get that far, because they're all fucking idiots. Taras Shavenko, $5. Thank you. Slight twist on bike cuck. What if the person stealing the bike got no happiness but did it compulsively? Exactly, dude. Like they have like a stealing disorder. Man, yeah. Oh, hey, Baldo, what's up? And yes, of course, the very selective empathy, right? Leftists say we're so empathetic. Oh my god, none of them ever fucking have empathy for a Nazi. Never, right? Rightists say I can't believe you'd be so empathetic. You're a fucking fool. You know, you're too empathetic. You're being taken for a fucking ride. How you need to only care about those who are close to you, and then they scream bloody murder when you don't care about like whatever fucking pet issue they have. They start like V screaming that I just want to see more dead Russians, while at the same time talking about the toxic empathy of the left. You know what? Russians are on the other side of the fucking world. I don't give a fuck about random Russians, dude. They're not my friends. They're not my family. They're not my countrymen. I don't give a fuck. All right? That is the proper right-wing, low empathy response. I don't give a fuck about dead Russians. All right? But the right-wingers are like, oh, how dare you say that? How dare you not care about the firefighter? How dare you not care about... It's like, shut up. Shut up. You only think about these ideas in a unidirectional analysis. Sorry, a univariable analysis. You only consider one variable, one question at a time. You never actually put these things together in any sort of higher order thinking. And frankly, I think that's why I've gotten so fed up with the right wing at this point, is because I've met so many of them who are just like blatant fucking hypocrites that I just don't care anymore. I don't care about pandering to them anymore, you know? I mean, not that I was ever a panderer, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. $10 from Caspian. Thank you very much. I can talk myself in my head. I can visualize things while reading or listening to audiobooks. I can imagine what it would be like if I didn't eat, but I can't see others can't do the same. It's odd. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Is V screaming audible in the human frequency range? Oh my god. So, here's what I mean, okay? Here's what I mean. Like, You guys know about the fucking the Pete Hegseth shit, right? Signalgate, right? You guys must know about this. Yeah. So, like, the Signalgate shit, where for some fucking reason they decided to like lay out these plans for an attack in a fucking Signal group. People who are working for the executive branch, right? And it's like, one, why do you not have your own private fucking app to talk about this shit? And two, why did you invite a journalist? Okay? Now this is dumb. Like, it's really fucking stupid. However, the more important part is the hypocrisy. Like, the Hillary Clinton email thing. They screamed about it for like 10 years. Hillary Clinton's email server. They're shrieking bloody fucking murder. Like, this is worse than Hillary Clinton's emails. Because this was actually, like, Hillary Clinton's emails, the problem with it is that it was unsecure. And it could have been leaked. It wasn't, but it could have been. That's a fair criticism. This actually was leaked. Like, this actually was... No, this is worse. It is worse. Because it actually was leaked. All right? Like, the only reason we know about some of Hillary Clinton's emails is because of the extensive investigation into the event. And the FBI made a bunch of it public. The reason we know about this Signal group is because they invited a fucking journalist. That is worse. That is just fucking worse. And not just that. It's just it's the blatant hypocrisy all across the board on the right now. All right? Like, imagine. So what did they ultimately go after Hunter Biden for in the end? Because they didn't have any evidence of anything else. They went after him for a gun charge because he failed to fill out improper paperwork for owning like a pistol or something. Because he had been like a drug user, and he had to fill out paperwork. Like they went after him on that shit. All right. But like, dude, aren't right wingers the ones saying that like any restriction on gun ownership at all is a violation of the Second Amendment? They say this all the time. They say it all the fucking time, guys. They say it all the fucking time. Constantly they say this shit. It doesn't matter if the operation was still a success. What matters is that it was leaked. All right? But yeah, like they say all the time, like, okay, you have restrictions on bump stocks. I think that was actually Senator Trump. But you have restrictions on bump stocks. Well, you're restricting the Second Amendment, all right? You know, the concealed carry permit, you're restricting the Second Amendment. You know, you have to there's like a registry or like a waiting period or all this shit. They're all restrictions on the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says you should be able to just own guns and that's that. Shall not be infringed. Okay. And yet, they clap and cheer like seals when they go after Hunter Biden for like improperly filling out paperwork for a fucking gun charge. It's pure hypocrisy. Yeah, on the gun thing, they also say follow the law, but if the law says we're not going to let you buy a gun, they're going to be like, no, obviously, right? Hold on. Give me a second. Okay. Here. Imagine if it was like Obama or Biden or Kamala or whoever else. Pick anyone on the left, okay? Imagine if it was any of those guys who said this shit, okay? Here, just wait. Okay, we're good. Okay. This is from 2018. Okay, so during Donald Trump's first term. All right?
Yes, go ahead, Mike. Well, in the category, you've spoken about it, Mr. President, gun violence restraining orders. They're called. California actually has a version of this. And I think you, in your meeting with governors earlier this week, individually and as a group, we spoke about states taking steps. But the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process, so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process
Listen to this.
procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Okay. If it were any fucking left-winger in the States who said this, it would be clipped, it would be shipped, it would be posted on fucking libs of TikTok, on Cat Turd, on fucking Eliza Schaefer's channel, on all of these right-wing pundit fucking outlets and accounts, all right? Imagine Biden saying, take the guns first, go through due process second, all right? The right would lose its fucking mind. They would be shrieking. They would be saying, oh my God, they're coming for your guns. Oh my God, they don't respect the Constitution. Oh my God, they don't fucking care. Oh my God. Where's the outrage, guys? Where's the right-wing outrage on this? Yeah, I see you guys in the chat saying it's an L. You don't agree. Okay, fine. But where's the outrage? Where are the clips going viral with millions of views where right-wingers critique this? Where are they? No, I get it. There was. I'm sure there was right-wingers among libertarians. I understand. I get it. All right. But what I'm saying is, if a left-winger said this, all of the big mega accounts would be posting it over and 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 over. Where's the reposts? Where is it? The actual answer is Trump's followers are hypocritical fucking retards. That's what it is. They will only complain. They will. Okay. Senenko says WTF did they did it at the time. Watch some fucking gun tubers. I'm not talking about gun tubers, all right? I get it. I get the libertarian perspective. I get it. All right? Here's what I'm saying. All right? Mike Cernovich would be reposting this clip for the next fucking 10 years if it was Biden or Obama who said it. All right? That's what I'm saying. And they'd say, the left hates the Second Amendment. Why don't they do it for their guy? The answer is because it's their guy. That's the answer. All right? And insofar as okay, no, hold on. You're not saying the reason I say most Trump supporters is because you have the big aggregators, right? You have libs of TikTok, you have Cat Turd, you have Mike Cernovich, you have Elijah Schaefer, you have these accounts with millions of followers, okay? And they post a viral clip, and that clip gets millions of retweets, all right? Each one of those retweets, for the most part, are going to be the rank and file Trump supporters who are spreading the message, all right? And so this got no retweets. This was posted nowhere. Okay? Mike Cernovich's income relies on him not reposting this. Exactly. That's my point. My point is that they are hypocrites, which is why I am not on the right side. Okay? People say, Dev, are you pro right wing? No, I'm not. Because they're hypocrites. All right? You're acting like Trump supporters don't give him shit when he does something wrong. For the most part, they don't. You know what? There was that whole H-1B visa fight, and you had like you had like the trad cons going to war with like Elon and Vivek over it. When Trump stepped in and said, "Here's what I think," everyone fucking fell in line. That conversation just disappeared. So no. The The right wing is too tribalistic. They're too collectivist. They only care about what's good for their movement and not what any they don't care about principle. And I am simply not going to support them. For the same way, and for the same reason that I don't support the left. Yes, both sides are tribalistic. That's why I'm not on either side. All right? Okay. I missed a bunch of supers. Let me talk about it a little bit, okay? Thank you for the support. Thank you. $5 from Local Raven. Most of the selective empathy is folks emotionally showing their disdain for someone and rationalizing it after the fact. There was never consistency. I think that's a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of the whole Oh God! Oh, I just fucking triggered myself. Oh, yeah. Okay. How many times did right wingers say, "I disagree with what you say, but I defend to the death your right to say it"? How many times did they say that? First Amendment, most important, free speech, open debate. Okay, I agree for the most part, but I agree. And now we have like students getting deported, people who are lawful residents, not illegal immigrants, not border hoppers, people who are lawful residents getting deported because of their speech. Like, oh, you're a foreigner who's lawfully in the States, who has the visa, who has the green card, who has like not citizenship yet, but they have permanent residency, and you are saying things Trump doesn't like. You get fucking deported. What the fuck? No. Yes, they do. That's the point. They absolutely have a right to be there. That's what having a visa means. That's what being a permanent resident means. They have a right to be there now. Yeah, that's happening, Yvonne. It's been happening. Like, I saw a video of actually like a bunch of people just approach a woman who was walking somewhere and just like say, "Oh yeah, so we don't like what you've been saying at university, so we're just gonna like detain you." And they just put her into a van and drove away. No. Okay. Tango Hotel, which can be revoked at any time. Oh my God. There are rules to how you revoke certain levels of non-citizenship legal status. There are rules for revoking a visa. There are rules for revoking permanent residency. Okay? There are rules for revoking something like some sort of like student or like work or whatever. Like there are rules for these things. All right? No, there absolutely are rules. Okay. No, they're not following those rules. They are not following those rules right now. So, also more importantly, the Supreme Court has ruled for many years now that certain provisions of the Constitution 100% apply to non-citizens. The rule is if the president doesn't like you, there goes your visa. No, that's not like. Oh my God, guys! Like, I'm not reaching, dude. Oh my. Okay, I'm gonna lose my fucking brain here. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, so here's something that's kind of important here, okay? I'm going to pull it up. Here's the wording of the First Amendment, all right? Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Okay, so it says people here. It does not say citizen here. It says people. The First Amendment applies to all people in the United States, whether they're citizens or not. Okay? And in fact, the Supreme Court has ruled consistently that when the Constitution says people, it refers to all people, whether they are citizens or not. And when it says citizen, it refers only to citizens. Foreigners are not people, Giga Chad. But like, if we go through here, if you go through these amendments, we'll probably find one that says citizens. Right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. All right? You know what this means? This means that illegal immigrants can legally own guns. Okay, Konstantinos, thank you. Sorry for getting triggered too hard. Thank you. But yeah, like, this means that non-citizens can own guns in the States. All right? Let's see. Let's find one that says citizen. We'll go through all the amendments. See the word citizen yet? The right of the people to be secure in their persons. Right? So this one here means that the Fourth Amendment is due process. Okay? So non-citizens are entitled under the Fourth Amendment to due process, which means you can't simply pick them up and send them home without following the rules. No person shall be held to answer for Okay, yep. Let's try to find one that says citizen, because I know that there are some amendments that say citizen. We're just gonna read through them real quick here. Let's see. 10th Amendment, reserved to the people. Here we go. Okay. 11th Amendment. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. So, I don't quite know what this one means, but off the top of my head. But what I do know... Hold on. BG Noise says, Dev, this document was written hundreds of years ago. I highly doubt they were thinking of the rights of immigrants. Is the right wing full of originalists or not? Do they worship the Constitution like they're sucking George Washington's mummified cock or not? The 14th use of citizens? Thank you. Let's go to the 14th then. Yep. Wait, does it? That's 13th. Oops. Yeah. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state that they reside. Okay, yeah, so there you go. Like, the Constitution differentiates between citizens and people. We all know illegals aren't people. Fuck you. So green card holders can call for genocide under the First Amendment, then, Dev. I don't like it, but the way the law is currently written, yes, they can. Criminal migrants are not people. If you commit a felony, fuck you. Okay, hold on. Sinenko, I know that you are far more right-wing than me, Sinenko, so let's have this conversation just real quick. Do you understand, like, the anarcho-capitalist idea that a lot of libertarians kind of cling to, that the government does not grant you rights because the state is not God? You understand that, right? Yeah, libertarian minarchist. So you definitely understand this, okay? The state is not God. The government does not grant rights. The government exists to protect rights that you already have. That's correct, right? I'll wait for Senenko to reply here. I want to see what he has to say. His God is Trump. Come on, guys. Let's be fair here. It's for government to protect the rights of people within the borders. Well, yeah, but even illegal immigrants are within your borders. Kind of the point. But here's the thing, though, right? I've hung out in a lot of right-wing spaces, and the view of right-wingers overwhelmingly is that government does not create rights. The state is not God. The Constitution protects rights that humans naturally have. That's why they're called natural rights. All right? That's why the government can violate your rights by not protecting them and by infringing on them, because you have the rights embedded in you because of God. God has granted you these rights. God has granted you these rights, and they shall not be infringed. So the government's job is to protect them. However, if you genuinely believe that, then that means that illegal immigrants have the exact same rights that you do, granted to them by God. They do get rights. They also break the law to enter the country. That's true. That's true. But you know what? One of those rights is the right of due process. So even if they break the law to enter the country, they still have the right of due process. Even criminals have the right of due process. They do get due process. They're currently not. All right? If people are getting deported because they're using their First Amendment rights in a way that is legal for citizens, then they are not getting due process. Like I said, you have people who are here, in the States, on student visas. They're at universities. They're protesting with their First Amendment right only, saying things that I find to be completely fucking despicable. And now Trump's administration is deporting them. That is a free speech issue. And they get it when they have their trials and arraignments and they're deported. No, they're not having a trial is the point that I'm saying right now. No, they're just being tossed out. The trial isn't happening. They aren't being tortured. They aren't being jailed. They're being made to leave the country. Yes, if you simply toss somebody out without following the rules and without following due process, then you're violating their rights. Yes. So here's the thing, like Butters says, we have no obligation to harbor foreign rebellion against us. See, you know what? I actually agree with that. However, I understand that position means that you have to be okay with not being a strict originalist, with not just worshiping the Constitution as if it's perfect. And the right wing can't hold these positions. They are inherently in conflict with each other. But they hold them because they're fucking hypocrites. No, Sedenko, being sent home also requires that you follow due process. You say the right wing can't hold these positions as if the right wing is a monolith. Okay, I'll be more specific then. Specific. Any right winger who holds both of these positions, even though they're mutually exclusive, is retarded. And it seems to be the case, from my perusal of the internet recently, that more right wingers hold them than not. Which is one reason why I'm not going to get involved with right wing hypocrisy. Why would being deported as an illegal require due process when, again, illegal immigrant is a status, not something that you prove or not? Because the Constitution, when it comes to due process, that's the Fourth Amendment, I think, applies to all people, not just citizens. So even an illegal immigrant has due process rights. It's crazy to hear from a libertarian that rights come from the government. I suppose they've become statists now. Yeah, it's so retarded, dude. It's so fucking dumb. Dev, why would it require due process at all? Okay. Anytime the government takes an action against an individual, due process is required in order to ensure that the individual's rights are not violated. That's the point of rights. Whew. No, it doesn't matter if you are or you are not. Because illegal immigrants also have the right of due process. Do you understand? No. A visa is not a right. That's true. And people can be deported. That's completely true too. But there is a process you must follow, a legal process to deport them. If you don't follow that process, if you simply deport them without a hearing, then you are violating their rights. There's a process to revoke a visa. If you don't follow that process, you're violating their rights. If you have hundreds of thousands of people illegally immigrating and you cannot kick them out without a court date, you basically have no sovereignty over your border. No, it depends, Boomer. Because there are some people, like, if you catch them in the desert and you just say, get the fuck out, you just throw them back over the border, that's fine. But, like, if someone's been in the country for several years and they're illegal, but they have, like, a court case that they have, like on the books for some reason, yeah, you have to wait for that. Yes, you have to wait for that. That's how it is, yes. No, they don't have the same rights as a citizen have. I know they don't have the same rights as a citizen have. Yes, that's true. However, they do have due process rights. Like, fucking hell. I can't fucking believe I have to fucking... I know the Constitution more than you fucking guys do. Jesus. Okay. Here. The Constitution of the United States. The Fourth Amendment. This is where due process rights come from. The right of the people. Not the citizens, the people, all people. If you're a person, you have these rights under the Constitution. If you're a citizen, you have them. If you're a lawful permanent resident, you have them. If you're on a student visa, you have them. If you're an illegal immigrant, you have them. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. All right? So, guess what? If you're an illegal immigrant in the United States, and yes, illegal immigrants should be deported from the United States. Of course they should. But if you're an illegal immigrant, you have the right of due process under the Fourth Amendment. That is how it's written. If you don't like that, change the Fourth Amendment. Can you prove warrants were not issued on probable cause? In a lot of these cases, warrants aren't being issued is the point, which is why they're not following due process. Naxalis, I actually agree with you, yes. It's all motivated reasoning. Their goal is getting these people out of the country as fast as possible, and these things are in the way. Yeah, exactly. If you are supporting just the rapid deportation of people without following due process, then you just don't give a shit about the Constitution. You actually don't care about the Constitution. And considering that the right wing in America is founded on respecting the Constitution way more than the left, they're hypocrites. They've lost all moral high ground. Dev, I think you are woefully... Wait. The people refers to citizens and nationals, not foreign invaders. Not true. You're wrong, Emptor. You're wrong. Regardless of what the Supreme Court says, I don't believe that the Founding Fathers made a distinction between people and citizens. I believe they use citizen and people interchangeably. Well, you can hold that belief, but until you have proof of it, no, the Supreme Court rules. It depends on what your definition of is. You need due process in order to prove that they're here illegally. I mean, that's also true too. Yeah. If you keep failing to explain properly why you need a trial, deportation is not a punishment. It's simply removal of someone being here illegally. Same how you'd force someone out of your house. Okay. Because a country is not like a house. They're two different things. Okay. Like, let's say you pick someone up. Okay. You pick someone up and they say, you know what? We don't like that you said that stuff at that pro-Palestine protest. So we're deporting you. And the person says, what do you mean deporting me? I'm a fucking citizen. Fuck you. Well, now you actually need a trial to determine, or at least an investigation to determine, oh, is this person actually a citizen? Like, do you make a mistake here? Additionally, there are legal rules for revoking, for example, a student visa, right? So if you look into like laws surrounding student visas, there's probably going to be some rule in there that says, okay, if you murder someone, you lose your student visa, you go home. And you know what? That's completely reasonable, right? But because there are rules about how you can revoke a visa, if you don't follow those rules, then you are breaking the law. Dev, so by this logic, you can have an army cross the border with guns and require to have due process. Okay, an army is different than an individual. Okay, God, please remove the leftism from your fucking brain. Not everything is the same as everything else all the time. Chat's being retarded, yes. Anyway, the point is that I am pretty comfortable right now with saying that the majority of people in the MAGA movement are just hypocrites. They don't care. Not all, obviously not all, but the majority of them, you know, the center pillar of MAGA, the dominant strain of MAGA. They don't care about free speech. They don't care about the First Amendment. They don't care about the Second Amendment. They don't care about the Constitution. They care about what Trump wants to do. All right? They would scream bloody murder about the guns shit if somebody else said it, but when Trump said it, it's completely fine. They would scream bloody murder about the free speech shit, but Trump's doing it, so it's completely fine. All right? They talk about wanting to not be war hawks, you know? We shouldn't police the rest of the world. Like, Ukraine is not our business. Okay. And yet, they want Canada, they want Greenland, they want the Panama Canal, all this shit. It's just, they're retarded. They're just retarded. And they're retarded in very similar ways and for very similar reasons as like the communists on the left who tried and failed, thankfully, to consume the Democratic Party from within. The way you're framing that sounds extremely disingenuous. It's not, though. Oh my god, we've been jibber-jabbing for 2 hours. I wanted to fucking do the articles by now. I gotta go, so I gotta go soon. 2 hours to get to both sides. Oh, Valiant Goat. Here, you know what? I'm not gonna two sides this time, okay? On these issues we've discussed today, the right wing is worse than the left. They are just worse than the left. Simple as that. Maybe one day, the left will be worse than the right. But like, and the left has done some terrible fucking shit. But the right wing in the past 3 months have completely blown the left out of the water. Yeah, I don't agree with Brianna Wu's statements regarding the deportations of pro-Palestinians. I think she's wrong about that. Yeah, one day. Yep. Listen, the left, for all of their evil, and there's so much fucking evil on the left, dude. When has the left decided to deport people who are immigrants, but also hold right-wing views? because there's lots of them, dude. There's like the Catholics coming in from Mexico. They're all like family values. They're all voting for Trump. Or do they get deported? No, none of them did. The right's doing that. The left didn't do that. Okay. You know what, Mouse? That'll be a video that I do in the coming month. Trump's doing it, so it's epic. JJ Blitz says, okay, they didn't do it, but they advocated for it. Okay, guess what, JJ Blitz? Doing it is worse than advocating for it. Advocating for it is bad. Doing it is worse, which is why the left is bad and the right is worse. Yeah, I gotta read super chats before I leave. Like, I wanted to do the articles, like, and you know what? I'll change the thumbnail so I do the maid story next week. Cause I had like a maid story lined up. So I'll just do that next week, and I'll change the thumbnail to something that's like with Trump's face on it or whatever. Tara Shavenko, $5. Wasn't there? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna refresh and do all the super chats from the start. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for all the support today. You guys have been very generous. I really appreciate it. Let's read the supers. Nothing but instinct. Making Deb spin in my head. Here's your weekly pittance. Compulsively stealing the bike. I think I did all these. Thank you for all these super chats, guys. Local Raven, $5. Most of the selective empathy is folks emotionally showing their disdain for someone and rationalizing it after the fact. There was never consistency. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. I think that's true. Yeah, a lot of people who are like, I have empathy. It's like, no, you don't. You have empathy for your political side. That's all it is. Why no games? Oh, the reason for why no games after the stream is the same reason as to why I'm leaving without doing the articles today, and it's because I'm gonna get back to work on the video. I want it out tomorrow, and there are things for me to do for this afternoon to work on it. How many subs? I don't know. Wait, hold on. Stanenko, blame the Patriot Act, which should be considered unconstitutional. I mean, hey, I agree with you, dude. But you know what? Trump's been using the Patriot Act too. Trump's been using the Patriot Act as well, man. Okay, sorry. Terrace, thanks for the $20, man. Very generous. Really, really appreciate it. Ben Shapiro, who I on balance agree with, said the response to Clinton laid out the new rules, so none of this matters. But I respond with, didn't we vote for people because we thought they would be better than Clinton on this? Oh yeah, exactly. Eggs fucking exactly. Like, if the right wing is not going to be better, then why should I not treat them as if they are worse? Of course. Oh, by the way, I don't like the Patriot Act either, right? But if you think that Trump will ever give up that power, you're fucking delusional. But thank you for the 20, man. Bill Skinner, $10. I hate to nuance, bro, the Second Amendment, but it is correct to both advocate for the removal of all infringement, but also advocate for all laws to be followed correctly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like if you respect the law, you can be like, you know what? I will follow the law as it currently stands, but I want it changed. That is the proper thing to do, ultimately, yes. Oh, also, I don't think Trump's a 90s Democrat anymore. Like that criticism made sense. In his first term, not anymore, right? Like MAGA is not just Democrats from the 90s. No, Democrats from the 90s would not have dismantled USAID. Thank you very much, though, Bill Skinner. I appreciate it. Oversized Trash Panda. By the way, why are you complaining about the name Short Fat Otaku when a leading right-wing Twitter account is named Cat Turd? I think it's because Cat Turd actually represents the type of person that Cat Turd is. But Short Fat Otaku no longer represents me. I'm still short. I'll always be short. I'll always be, like, you know, a 5'7" king of the manlets, right? But I'm losing weight slowly but steadily. Like, I'm like any of you who have tuned into the gaming streams, you're like, oh, dude, you've lost weight. I guess I have. I'm gonna keep losing weight. And otaku, it's just I don't watch enough anime anymore. You know, like, I still love anime. I just have no time to watch it. You know, I just don't have time to watch anime. So I will be changing the name. The reason that I change it to Dev parentheses Short Fat Otaku is to kind of boil the frog on it. Like in a month or two, I'll change it again to get it closer to the name that I want. And I'll just kind of change it, like, over the course of 6 months, we'll, like, slowly change over to the new name. Chrono Soul, $5. Changing the name was bad for SEO. Despite being a sub and a search didn't find you right away. That's fine. That's okay. I want to abandon the name. 0 fucks. And my plan is, like I have a roadmap for what content that I want to put out. I have a roadmap for what content I want to put out. After the name change. Like, there are certain videos that are, like, in the chamber, ready to go, but I want them to be not tainted by the SFO name. So, for example, there's a video on Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door that I want to put out. That has some politics in it, for sure, but it's also gaming related. And I think it's going to be a really high-quality video. Like, a very high-quality video. These are ones that I'm like, oh my god, this could be like a masterpiece of mine. But if I put it out under the SFO name, it will get, like, it'll be tied to the old drama, right? So all this time, I've actually been like prepping a whole bunch of really good video essays that will come out when the channel relaunches, basically. And hopefully that new content will allow things to kind of take off in a new direction. You know what I mean? But Chrono Soul, $5 super chat. Thank you. Dev, I disagree. They don't get outraged because they need a Second Amendment under attack, so it can be an elect me talking point. I mean, yeah, maybe. That's partially true. I think, honestly, a lot of it is wedge issues. Like the left did this with abortion, right? Like, abortion was shaky for, like, 50 years, and they never fixed it because it got people to vote for them. Yeah. Everyone will still be subbed. Yes, it'll just be a new name change. The channel will have a new name. Groovy Banana, $20. Thank you very much. Yep, new Twitter account. Yep. Trump is barely on the right, and yet he somehow became the figurehead of the largest right-wing party. He got the right to defend gays, gun laws, etc., literally getting Christians to go against their own religious beliefs. That's partially true. That, you know what, Groovy Banana, I appreciate the $20. I really appreciate it, man. But I think you're kind of wrong. I think that was true in Trump's first term. It's not true now. I think Trump has radically changed between term 1 and term 2. And this whole Trump is barely on the right thing, I think that's gone. I think that's off the table. I think Trump is very squarely much further to the right now than he was, 10 years ago. Terrace, $2. Thank you. Has the hard right switched to supporting TikTok? I think so, yes. A lot of that whole Chinese stuff has been, like, you guys recall, was it Charlie Kirk who said that, like, TikTok must be banned, Chinese infiltration into, and then, like, 2 years later he's like, save TikTok. It's all hypocrisy, all of it. Firearms and Fitness, thank you for the $10, dude. Very appreciated. Oh, we almost finished the goal today. Oh my god. 3 more super chats, and I get 3 more super chats. I get to go on with Ozempic. Oh. Firearms and Fitness, thank you for the $10, man. The issue I see right now is that the right is giving up the belief that the constitutional right we have are natural, and instead comes from the government. That's a big one. Yes, that's a very big one. Because like I did a video on what rights are. I think I've done like several videos over the years on what rights are, right? And a right, either you have civil rights, which come from the government. And in that case, if rights come from the government, then governments can never actually violate your rights. So for example, the Nazi in terms of civil rights, the Nazis did not violate the rights of Jews because the Nazis were the source of rights. And if they said Jews don't have rights, then Jews don't have rights because rights come from the government in this view. The Chinese aren't violating the rights of the Uyghurs. The state of Israel is not violating the rights of the Palestinians because rights come from the government in this view. If rights don't come from the government, if rights are inherent to humanity, if we simply have them by virtue of being human, whether that's because of God or nature or rationality, whatever, if we have them as an inherent part of the human experience, if that's the case, then the government does not grant you rights. The government protects your rights. But that means the governments can now violate your rights. And it also means that non-citizens have the same rights as citizens. And the right wing is dancing between these two positions because they want the benefits of saying, of course, non-citizens don't have rights. However, they don't want to say that the rights come from the government because the consistent right-wing position is that government protects rights. It does not grant them. See, it's the left's position that rights don't exist, right? It is the left wing's position that rights are a legal fiction that we have created because they're good for us. But nonetheless, because we've invented them, we can change them. That is the leftist social construction position. It's the right wing position that rights are inherent to us, that they are part of us. So if illegals also have all the rights, then what is the difference between an illegal and a citizen? In God's eyes, none. There's no difference between them, obviously. And because you know what? Citizens can go to hell and illegals can go to heaven. Why are illegals now denied other rights from the government? Because the government's violating their rights. That's the point. Is that from the right-wing point of view, the government is violating the rights of illegals. Yeah. Turns is all about power. I mean, that is where you get when you start stripping away principles. Like here, you know what? Both of these views have some positives, right? There is some positives to the idea that rights are inherent to humanity. There is some positives to the idea that rights come from government. They both have their benefits, okay? However, they're both of these systems are internally logically consistent, but they're also exclusive. Like if you combine them, the logic no longer functions. They are contradictory. So you must believe in one of them, but you can't believe in both because things fall apart if you do. And yet, right-wingers currently want the benefits of both systems. Firearms and Fitness for $5. Thanks, man. The Constitution does not apply to citizens unless stated the rights we have are natural and apply to all. Do you mean to people? I think, hold on. The Constitution does not apply to citizens unless stated the rights we have are natural and apply to all. Yeah, I think so. I feel like that super chat makes more sense if citizens is replaced with like non-citizens, but I get your point. And Antelope $2. This was written with Canadians in mind. Thank you. Terrace $2. Do gingers, legal or otherwise, have rights? Of course not. Chan for $5. People forget that the Magna Carta and the Enlightenment are founding intentions of the legal system in America. All peoples have rights given by God. Yeah, that's the right-wing view. But it also means that illegals have rights. Yeah. And Antelope, $5. We can have due process and still mass deport. This isn't a one or other thing. We can have people and citizens are different. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying don't deport illegals, all right? I want illegals to be deported. Straight up. I want them to be deported. But it must be done properly. It must be done properly. And currently Trump is not doing it properly. Groovy Banana for $20. Thanks again, man. Thank you very much. What if I don't believe in rights or believe that they should only be applied to my people? Is it hypocritical if they only believe rights are given by God? Ozempic time. Thanks, Chan. Thank you. Thank you. um, what if I don't believe in rights? I mean, that's like the far left position, because like if you talk to like I've seen Vosh say this, is like rights don't really exist. Focusing on human rights prevents the communist revolution. We need to abandon the legal fiction that is human rights to like actually do what we want to do. If you believe that rights should only be applied to your people, that is the very far right position of like, my tribe has rights, your tribe doesn't, the issue is that in some strange ways, the extreme far right is correct when they say that Christianity is progressive, because Christianity is where the idea that we're all equal comes from, because we're all equal before God. So like charity, mercy, grace, equality, these are all Christian virtues, right? Well, Boomer, this is why I actually supported that bill of Biden's from last year that the Republicans shot down, that would just like send tons more judges into the system that is judging the illegals coming in to just get through their cases, because that's what they need. They need like way more judges down there doing that shit. And Antelope, $5. Imagine trying to revoke someone's human rights for ideological reasons. Pretty leftist. Yeah, it is pretty leftist. Yeah. Tereshchenko, $5. Wasn't there a German family who was living in the U.S. because they wanted homeschool, which is illegal in Germany? They were sent back. I'm not sure. That's possible. I've never heard of that, though. Confirmation bias, $10. I'm a Gen Z Texan, so my lived politics are very small. But it seems likely whoever is currently winning in the culture war gives in to their worst tendencies and radicals. Yes, absolutely. All the weird shit on the left came from that, and now all the terrible shit on the right is coming from that, too. Do you have any subs you lost from this stream? No idea. Don't care. But thank you. Stug, $5. Trump was right. Dev got tired of winning, so he hates MAGA now. Thanks, man. Oversized Trash Panda lives in Dev's trash cans. Thanks. $5. I think it's okay to have different standards for your friends and your enemies, but the key is that you have to have standards for both. I mean, that's true too, right? Like on a personal level, of course, you treat your friends different than your enemies, right? But if we're talking law, there has to be some standard applied to all. Yes. You see that Trump wants to run for a third term and he's not joking? I've heard that he wants to. I heard him joke about it. I don't know if he's being serious though. If you see him not joking, let me know. To keep you here longer, thoughts on abundance. I don't know what you mean by that. Is it a movie or something? Mad Yvonne, $5. On the empathy bit earlier, there's a difference between I am a good person, therefore I have empathy, versus I have empathy, therefore I'm a good person. True, yes. Completely agreed. Borman, $10. Thanks, man. Basic rights should not be dependent on politics. If you're worried about losing gun rights, free speech, etc., based on who is office, you don't have rights. You have conditional privileges. I agree. Completely agree with you. Ozempic time. Thank you very much. Terrace. This is the final one. If a mass group are deported without due process, can a future left-wing government have justification to re-import them as reconciliation? Yeah, probably, actually. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. It is important to treat people honestly, right? So illegals are not honest. They've broken the rules. They hop the border, deport them, send them home. Okay? Get rid of them. Completely agree. If someone comes into the country and they follow all the rules that were laid out at that time, even if you change the rules in the future, you should honor the agreement that the previous government made with that person, because they did everything right. It's not their fault, right? So if the government says, you know what, you have to be living in America for 1 year before you can apply for citizenship, and then you have like a guy who lawfully comes in, does all the paperwork, follows all the rules, he waits like 11 months, and then a new government comes in, and then the new government says, you know what, we're changing it from 1 year to 5 years. Okay, that guy who came in should still be able to get his citizenship in the 1 year, in 1 month, right? Because he's followed all the rules of the agreement that he agreed to. If that makes sense, right? It's something like, even though the law has changed, it is a bad thing to retroactively apply change law back through the past in order to like alter the deal that people have already agreed to. You know what I mean? it's always like whenever it's not law, but whenever YouTube bans you or Twitter bans you for a tweet or a video from 10 years ago that was fine 10 years ago but now does not fit under the new TOS, that always feels shitty because you followed the rules as they were then. So how is it that you're getting punished now, right? Like that seems unfair. And law in a lot of cases, law is the same way. Like English, like a core component of English common law that American law is based off of, and Canadian law and everywhere else, is that when you change laws, they come into effect on a certain date, and before that date, they don't come into effect. Which is why, by the way, there were some laws that were that the Canadian left tried to put into place. I don't know if they succeeded, that were actually retroactive, like some like hate speech laws that were retroactive in Canada, and like it was ridiculous. It's like this is unprecedented in the English speaking world to have retroactive speech laws. Like it's so fucking bad. And it's like, listen, you fucking leftoids in Canada need to like stop being assholes. This is way too fucking far. So yeah, like even if Trump's government changes immigration law, there's a strong argument, I think, for all people who have come to the States legally to still honor the agreements that they came in under. And by the way, Trump's not doing that right now. Okay, listen. I've enjoyed rapping with you guys. I really appreciate all the super chats. Jeez, we are $17 away from like a nice round number. So thank you very much. That was actually a lot of money today, so thank you. That'll allow me to get fat once again. But I really appreciate it. I will get to the articles next time. I'm going to go work on the video. Not a single article today. I'm sorry. I have one request for you though, okay? I have one request for you. I have a request. Don't leave. Don't you fucking leave. Don't leave. I have a request, okay? I see the viewership dropping. Don't you fucking leave. Okay. I am going to raid Destiny. Very specifically for one purpose, okay? Get your coffee cups ready. I want you guys to spam in his chat that I want him to watch my J6 video. Okay? No, come on. No. Just spam in his chat. Watch the J6 video. Come on. Because I want him to watch it. You don't need to give him a view. You can just drop the request and then move on if you like. But that's what I want to do, okay? Tell him yourself. I don't have anybody's fucking phone number right now, okay? Spam cuck. No. Get coffee cups ready. You know what? This is actually kind of mean. Don't spam it. Don't spam it. Hello, Dev. I've been watching all your videos since New Guy back in 2019. Thanks for the content you do. Here's the surrounding 17 you mentioned. Thank you very much, Borman. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciated. I usually do arms and chest during weekly sip, and it's become my little tradition. Well, that's great, dude. That's great. That's great, man. Glad that you're getting a workout. Thank you very much. Here. There's the coffees. Just say hi from Dev, I guess, or whatever. But thank you very much, guys. I will see you all next time. Have a good one. I love you.